So I'm hoping to take you on the journey that I've been on, talking about why I thought this was a good idea, try and convince you of that, how I went about it with support, and some of the other aspects that I've had to kind of understand and get to grips with really, and a little bit of discussion about the future. So just to give a little bit of an overview, by the end of this year, 1 in 10 of us will have a tablet. Does anybody here have a tablet? Oh, quite a few, right. Apparently Apple have a 75% share of the market, so has anybody who's got a tablet got an iPad? Yeah, all right, yeah, so quite a lot. And we know that departments are investing in iPads and apps and using them a lot. I don't have any figures, and that's one thing I think would be kind of useful to know. I've been using iPads and apps, I'm sure like lots of you, particularly as communication aids with people, and you know, it's a kind of a new world for me, iPad technology. But as I started to get used to the equipment, I started thinking, actually, we could really harness some of these really brilliant features for therapy and kind of use them a lot more than we were doing. And I suppose I felt that, particularly with oro-motor exercises, and I do want to kind of convince you of this, that I'm not sure we always give amazing intervention for oro-motor exercises. We all tend to use them, they have a place, but I'm not sure, and I'm going to show you the sorts of things we give out to people. These look kind of familiar? These look kind of familiar? So obviously, I've just wanted to show you that as a little example to say we can dress those things up, we can kind of print them out a bit nicer, we can put names on them, we can kind of personalise them a bit more. But at the end of the day, we're giving people a piece of paper. And I think, how many times do we go back to someone's house, we get a pristine piece of paper handed back to us and they say, what was I supposed to do again? Or it's gone out with recycling a long time ago. So I kind of think that there's so many things about motor learning principles. We know that the more often people do things, the better. And we know all these aspects about the instructions. Are they really clear about what they have to do? Are they doing them really often? And I'm just not sure with our pieces of paper that we're really achieving all those things that we kind of know are in the background there. And I suppose the other aspect is that, you know, we're a young, dynamic profession. Is that the image we want to be giving out to people, that we're giving out bits of scribbled on paper? Should we not be using all this amazing new technology and sort of really capitalising on that and giving people an iPad instead? And I suppose if you thought about young, acquired brain injury, you know, person, they would be much more motivated to do their exercises if you gave them an iPad as opposed to a piece of paper. And we know sort of how much more acceptable it is to be walking around with iPads. I've seen lots of people at this conference doing just that. So in terms of, you know, why this app, I suppose when you, obviously there are a lot of apps out there. And some of the apps, when you look at them, particularly for oro-motor, you have huge banks of videos. And I suppose I just thought that wasn't particularly useful for patients, and that we needed to be saying, these are the specific exercises you need to do. If we were able to use videos to show them, people would be able to watch them as often as they wanted. They'd have a really good sense of exactly what they had to do. One of my other motivators for kind of using some of the features of the iPad was the alarm kind of alert feature. Now, a friend of mine had hand surgery, and he came round to the house because he couldn't cook, and every hour he set his iPhone to bleep, and every hour he would sit there and he would do his hand exercises. And he said that if he hadn't had that alert, he would have thought, oh yeah, I'll do them in an hour, I'll do them whenever, and he wouldn't have got round to it. Now, when he went back to his hand surgeon, he had made phenomenal progress. He'd done really well with his sort of rehab. Now, I'm not comparing hands and faces, but I do think, do we really give that sense of importance to people, of how often they should be doing their exercises? And you know, the good thing about iPads is that they will bleep at you if you set the alarm to go off, even if it's not on. So it's not as though you have to go to a laptop and fire it up, or a computer. So it's kind of, you know, an inherent feature that we could really kind of use with our patients. And I guess, you know, there's the mirror function on an iPad, there's the record function. So people can start to take responsibility for their own therapy. They can start to rate themselves and really evaluate how they are performing by using some of those features. And I guess some of the other options that I guess as a NHS clinician, you know, we've been able to put on there a few features where the person can rate themselves, and some quality of life questions that you can use as kind of pre and post sort of outcomes in a way. So I think there are so many sort of features that are really useful, that I just think we can really capitalise on those and really use them as a really good kind of addition to our therapy intervention and make a much better quality of therapy really. And the other aspect is that apps are much quicker and less complex to develop than, say, a big software package, for example. Okay, so now let me tell you about the reality of it. You know, sort of unexpectedly quite a difficult journey. You think, oh, everyone's doing apps left, right and centre, surely it's just easy, you go to somebody with an app. But actually a huge amount of time has gone into planning what the information should be on the app, how it should look. And I mean, I'm quite fortunate that I'm an NHS clinician, but I'm also a clinical teaching fellow at the university here. And I do have a little bit of spare capacity of time at different points in the year I've been really well supported to sort of take this forward and develop it, but I've also put in a huge amount of time outside of my working day just to try and you know, get everything done that needs to be done. I would say the other issue is the cost. Obviously you have to pay to get an app developed. Now at the university I was very much met with, in the world of academia, you get people giving you advances to write books and resources. You don't go about trying to find money. So there is definitely a cultural attitude there that I think in this very fast moving world of app development that you know, I think we sort of have to sort of get to grips with really. And I guess the other aspect is it is a very small untested market. You know, we don't really know how many departments are investing in iPads and sort of really embracing kind of the app world. So I suppose there's all sorts of issues around that. I was really fortunate that I was supported by UMIP, who are the commercialisation arm of Manchester University, and they were absolutely essential in helping me. So we had to put out to tender to app companies so that we could really specify exactly what we wanted. And obviously the other bit that I'm going to come on to shortly, talking about some of the other skills such as marketing that I had to find out a little bit more about. So, you know, I would say, yes, you know, a difficult journey. There's been a lot of ups and downs. I sometimes wished it was just an idea that stayed an idea, but anyway, now when I see it, and it's due to be released in the iTunes store in a few weeks' time, and when I see it and I think, yeah, I really still believe that that will bring such benefit to patients and it will be useful, then that kind of, you know, re-motivates me. So just to give you a quick, you've got part of our marketing, leaflets in your bags anyway, so you can look at this, but this is just a quick example to show you of how some of the screenshots are looking. So, you know, the exercises are divided. This is how it would look to the therapist, by the way. The exercise is divided into lip, tongue, soft palate and jaw on the left-hand side. And my whole point at designing this was that it had to be really quick. It had to be super quick and easy. So you go into each of those areas and there's speed, range and strength of movement. So all the videos, and you just literally tap on the videos and they whiz over into this other side where it shows you what the program is that you've set. So you then go through, you choose the number of repetitions, how many times a day, and how long you want the program to carry on for. So this is how it would look to the patient. So they have their list of exercises down the left-hand side. They have their video. Don't have to play the video, might get sick of it after a few weeks. But the video is there that they can play if they need to. And just a little, this is just one of the features I just wanted to show you, that this is, you know, really this business about encouraging a patient to start evaluating themselves and thinking about their performance, and obviously that's, you know, a really important part of our therapy intervention. Okay, so I kind of thought in my naivety that you had this good idea. I'd run it by some of my colleagues and we thought, yeah, that would be really good. That, you know, there's nothing out there at the minute that kind of does that. And I just thought that was it. You kind of came up with the idea and then it all sort of happened. But actually, you know, we've got huge variety of speech and language therapists who, some people don't like texting, some people are quite happy with pen and paper, some people are really reluctant to kind of embrace new technology. And I suppose, you know, if people don't know that there's something out there that could improve the quality of services to patients, then they're not going to be looking for it because they don't know it exists and they don't know they need it. So it seems that you have to kind of get word out there. I guess the other issue that I think is really important and maybe worthy of having some discussion is, will patients discover this app without SLT? There are huge numbers of apps out there, and I suppose we need to be thinking about what's quality assurance of apps out there, who's vetting them, who's designed them, so I think that's that's a big part of it. I think obviously we've got some people who might be, what they call early adopters in marketing speech, who are going out and buying iPads up left, right and centre, but then you might have others who are kind of sitting back thinking, yeah, let's just see if this is going to go anywhere and take off. Okay, so if you want to tell people what you've developed and get your message out there, you have to have a brand, you have to have a logo, you have to have a name. Finding a name is really difficult, actually. So many things have been taken for other purposes. So trying to get something that's speech therapy related is difficult. And no, it's not a big snail, as somebody suggested. So it is supposed to be a stylised logo. But even that, we'd come up with some ideas of different things. And when you see them at the design phase, you think, no, that's not right. That's not the right message that you want to give out. So who'd have thought it? So another bit of terminology, SEOs, took me a while to work out that that's very important. How far up the list you come on Google when people put in the relevant search terms. And the other thing that's quite interesting, to get a good SEO, it turns out, it's quite good to blog and tweet. Now, I'm just interested to know whether that will reach the speech and language therapy market. So does anybody here blog? Does anybody here follow anybody that blogs? Okay, gosh. Does anybody tweet? Oh, a few more tweeters. Does anybody follow Twitter? I was kind of listening to the talk yesterday about providing more for less. I suppose, one of the answers was, do we turn more to technology? And to my mind, I do feel that oro-motor exercises, I do think that, it's not anything amazing that we provide to people. I think we could do better for people, but I think with something like this, I think we could do better without increasing our time and without having sort of huge implications for our resources. So, but as I said sort of earlier on, I think it's really important that we get involved in app development, and I think it's really important that speech and language therapists were involved in app development. And I hope I haven't put anybody off, because I think it is a really good way forward. But yes, all I would say is I think we do need to have also a wider discussion about apps, who vets them, who rates them, and we don't want there to be apps out there that are doing harm to people, or vulnerable people are buying into thinking it's going to be the answer to all their problems. So I think there needs to be some discussion around that. But hopefully I've given you a little bit of an overview about the journey that I've been on in terms of coming up with this idea and getting it to fruition. Thank you.